We continue with the homeland. The homeland that walks, continues to march, moving forward towards its destiny, its irrenounceable destiny, greatness, and peace, and prosperity. How nice it is to have a doctrine, such a fair idea, and a homeland to defend. We have a homeland to defend. We have the most fair ideas to defend, those ideas of Bolívar, of Zamora, of Sucre, that have been refounded by the generation, the marvelous generation of the Bolivarian movement, 200 with Commander Chavez in the forefront. So it's impressive, all the achievements that the commander was showing us. One of the 8 regions, of the 8 possible battlefields for the peace that we have defined in detail, with detailed plans, territory for territory, and also right now with the inclusion of actions that have been raised due to the threats that we have received. Why are we in this situation? Because we have always been here. This doesn't come from day to night. All the achievements we have come from the exercise of our sovereignty. We have kilometers and kilometers of frontier and border with our sister nation of Colombia, and sadly, for decades they have been dominated by an elite that wanted to produce more cocaine. Who? The oligarchy of Uribe, that had held the power continuously, at least from Andrés Pastrana, member of a family name so important in the country and that massacred so many people. Pastrana was the high point of the development of drug trafficking in Colombia. You need to hear what the Colombian says. Then we have Uribe, and then finally the elite and the oligarchy of drug trafficking in the power with Uribe. All the cocaine that was going to the United States, Álvaro Uribe Vélez, he was the heir, and he was prepared by Pablo Escobar. And it's not me who says that, but this is saying, it's been said by important journalists and personalities for Colombia. There are journalists in Colombia that have written testimonies of how Pablo Escobar was dealing with and treating with Álvaro Uribe, and continue to be in the United States protected. Afterwards, we have Juan Manuel Santos, that comes from the Santos, one of the families that have been governing and exercising power through a newspaper, El Tiempo, that was one of the most important ones at the time. Then came Duque, the leader of drug trafficking in Colombia, also a CIA agent protected by the CIA because he worked for them for a very long time. Whoever wants to investigate this and has the power to do so, you can look at all the documents, declassified documents. The real declassified documents are registering all of this. And for the first time, you have a president in Colombia that has fought against drug trafficking with a great bravery that I say here from Venezuela, truly admirable what President Petro is doing. And that is why our national armed forces has began with all its capacity of combat to confront this terrible threat against the stability and the health of the country and of the entire hemisphere. And this is a great achievement from the national armed forces, the police forces, and our people across the territory. Vessels with the highest technology. We had vessels that were recovered and armed, and those have been incorporated according to the law and all the possibilities. They are now part of that integral defense of the nation. So we have the missiles and the gun machines for our armed forces in order to protect our lands and seas from any criminal activity, and any arms that we are seizing, always according to the law, are going through and are incorporated to the combat logistics so necessary of our armed forces to strengthen our country. We go now to Cape San Roman in order to see the defense, the integral defense exercise over there in the Paravana Peninsula, in the Falcon State. There you have the commander of the region of the western side, Pedro González Ovalles, joined by his officers and also carrying out these drills. They have been prepared on just a few hours and perfectly activated for the integral defense. My Commander-in-Chief, we are here in this point of the Republic of Venezuela. We are leading a drill in the coast of the Cape San Roman in active resistance and integral defense, as we are complying with all the exercises of synchronization, also patrolling in depth with our rapid units ready for combat, with our vehicles of different types and forms ready for battle, for the neutralization of any enemy that is set to approach our coasts. We are establishing a surveillance territory to the north of our positions with different aircraft that are operated remotely and different strategies in order to detect any activity, also gunshot drills ready to defend our coasts and in our zone of influence in order to achieve the desarticulation of any enemy activity that try to approach our coasts. And we are trying the system of arms, air and simulated, in order to target enemy vessels that try to approach or disembark near our coasts. Also, the deployment and usage of different forms of armament and weapons in order to hinder the possibility of enemy aircraft from being activated in our territory. And from the sector of Avícola to the San Roman Cape, we're controlling the transit, the terrestrial transit. This is the main route with the objective of realizing and carrying out the search protocols and guaranteeing the security of our naval troops, our Marines that are patrolling the coast of Cape San Roman from a multi-purpose vessel and other forms of vehicles that our marine infantry are counting with in order to allow for the reinforcement of our operations and the deployment of troops, vessels guarding our coasts from the Bolivarian armed forces in this way, and also a formation of the fishermen councils in order to guarantee the patrolling of our coast and the sovereignty in our Caribbean Sea. In this context, the National Armed Forces in perfect fusion, military, police, and popular unity continue to guarantee the sovereignty of our geographical space. We are anti-imperialists. We are anti-colonialists. We are the sons and daughters of Chavez. Venezuela needs to be respected, and we are a zone of peace. Chavez is alive. A country that loves peace, that for peace has gone to battle.